I am glad we realized that now.
Buying or just perusing?
I was thinking selling, actually. Can we play the same people like Gwent multiple times? Like, could we do this? I don't know.
Show me what
It
you
is
got
grayed
on
out.
offer.
I was mostly just looking to offload some stuff. Namely, some boots that are actually pretty horrendous that we did just pick up in some quantity. Technically, we probably should be selling those to the... Well, it would need to be an armorer. Blacksmith. Is the person over here a blacksmith, or is he a swordsmith? Don't remember, but... Like we were saying before, it seems like the difference, at least at this stage, is so small that it is arguably just insignificant. So, I don't really think it matters. No, a difference of 5, not even 5 coins. Does this work again? We can! Oh. So I'm assuming that in that case what happens is that we play him again. He has the same type of cards. We have the same type of cards, except for the ones that we've earned since then, obviously. And we don't gain any new cards for beating him again. It's more so just that we are basically gambling. And we can win more coins if we gamble and win the game. Or we can lose more if we fail. It also seems as though there is not an option to back out at this point, so Gwent or nothing.
Wouldn't mind a few rounds of cards.
And it insists on us being square to tell. I still don't think we have enough to do that. So, yeah, apparently we could forfeit the game and lose the 5 orens that we just gambled. I think it was 5. Nah, not my style. We'll just do an extra round of Gwent with not much in the way of potential benefits to be had, but oh well. We do have a ton of siege going on here. So being able to weaken the range row is a little bit appealing when almost all of our units are in the siege row. Choose 1 card from your discard pile and play it instantly. Oh, that sounds extremely good. Except that means she's a 2nd or 3rd round card to play, because otherwise you probably won't have anything in your discard pile. Still okay with that, but that means that all the siege units will probably have to wait around before we break them out. And again, I think if we're being really picky, we might try to swap out a 4 for something better. And we got it. So let's carry on. So if we're going first, yeah, I think we deliberately hold off on the siege stuff, assuming that we want to play all the siege stuff on the same round, which means we're going Zoltan and Siegfried. We probably want to start with these two, because then we still have this in our back pocket. We can nerf the range row, and it won't hurt us. It will potentially hurt our opponent, although, at least initially, he is using a melee character. Also Nilfgaardian, which is a little bit of a surprise. I know there was one Nilfgaardian guy and one Northern Realms guy we were playing before, so presumably this was the Nilfgaardian guy. We're definitely, I don't think we're in Nilfgaard. This is kind of no man's land. We will play, yeah, we'll play Sheila mostly because we have to. It's either Sheila or it's throwing out the impenetrable fog. I think we play Sheila, and then if they play a really nice ranged enemy, range card, then we'll still break out the fog, and yeah, we'll lower Sheila's value. She's better than Cynthia. So, which means that what we'd really like to do here would be pass, because then we can still keep all of our siege units for the next round. However, that also means that we potentially invested a lot in a round that we may not win, depending on if our opponent continues to play cards. So he could play one more card, and he could probably pass us with just one more card. He'd have a small... We would have a small card advantage going into rounds 2 and 3, but not significant enough, I don't think, to be terribly meaningful. Well, maybe. It's hard to say definitively, but largely I say that because we ideally would play all these siege units in the same round. And we can't do that if we have to win 2 rounds, because we lose this one if this guy surpasses us. So, hard to say when we're playing against a computer after what happened recently. So, I think we do pass. And we either hope that he does something ridiculously stupid, which might happen, or that he passes here and gives us this win. He has done something that is quite logical, in fact. And so yes, we have lost that first round, have a 1-card advantage, which is not great. That's kind of what we were expecting. We're playing a spy. That is a bit of an alarming first turn thing to do. Normally that's something you would do when you are thrown in the towel. And that might be the case, that they're basically saying, yeah, we're giving you this win, and I'm going to get some extra cards for round 3, so that I can beat you then. But we can't really pass here and commit to that, otherwise he just throws all of his cards out there and wins this round and we lose the game altogether. So I think we do play this, which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to split the siege units, but we do this because it allows us to play a card from our discard pile, which will not be a siege unit. Which means, yeah. Anticipated that would probably happen, that our opponent would pass, but if we were playing a human, at least, if we were to preemptively pass, then they would seize that opportunity and then just immediately win the game. So, we had to. It was a loss, but we had to do it. Or, well, we invested a lot, but we had to. Obviously, we still won the round, but I mean to say that we invested more than we had to, but we knew that that was a risk that we had to take. Otherwise, we were making it possible for our opponent to just sweep us. Okay, so now we go all out on siege. And which means we can throw our big cards out there first, because it doesn't matter if they do this. There's still not really much we can do to change that, because almost all of our cards are siege, and it's the last round, so we're going to be playing all our cards anyway. So maybe deliberately, well, I would say maybe deliberately refrain from using the range card in case our opponent has a weather effect for the range row as well, that they might play because we just played a range card. But again, it's the last round. They're going to play everything. So if they have it, they're going to play it eventually. Granted, I have a card to nerf all the range row, so we probably want to refrain from doing that unless they play some amazing card there that is better than our 5. So that means we'll continue to pile on in siege, and it's not going to be great, but we will have the siege engineers, I believe that's what they're called, these guys, that will still give +1 to everyone in the ranged row, so that will do something. It does still work. As there is a ranged enemy, we still have a better range row than they do, so it is not worthwhile for us to nerf the range row. And we do have our hero ability to double the strength of the siege row, which at the moment is not saying much, but it's about to be saying a little bit more than that. So we see our opponent has passed, and we have won this one for good measure. Wait, what? I wanted to do this. Huh? Hold on. How does this work? Doubles the strength of all your siege units, unless the commander horn is also present in the row. Yeah, I'm trying to use this? Yeah. It basically makes the commander's horn appear. That's why you can't also have a commander's horn. Also, ×4 would be ridiculous if they stack. But okay, so there we go. We have one. Oh, wait, that was... Okay, no, okay. We won round 2 and round 3. For a second there, I was like, wait, did we just invest everything in round 2 and forget about round 3 and leave ourselves with no cards? And maybe that's why our opponent passed preemptively. We received some silver. Oh. I thought we were only going to get a little bit of coins. That was a lot better than just a little bit of coins, though. That was a little bit of coins and some silver. I liked that. That actually seems like you could make a case for deliberately playing multiple rounds of Gwent rather than just accidentally doing it. Okay, so let's head back to Lindenvale and say hello to the person that we want to say hello to. That being Dolores. Now we can talk to you.
What was that about?
What's become of me in me elder years? Refused a roof over me head by a common churl. I was born a noble's daughter. My brother and I, we managed the manor for years.
Okay, now humor me. No, we gave you the cold shoulder before.
A caller
Now I'm
came
interested,
one
though.
day. A drifter, a hunter. It wasn't long before we fell in love and wed. We prepared to leave the manor. My brother, he took offence, refused to bid me farewell. Years on I returned, but found no sign of him. Folk claimed monsters had infested our home, come to nest there.
Okay. Yeah, I could take him out. I'm assuming that's what you're looking for us to do.
I could take care of those monsters for you.
You're a witcher, right? No ordinary man would be so eager. Don't fret. It's all the same to me, provided you're honest. The house is east of here.
Oh,
Take
we've
this
not been
key.
east.
Once you've driven off the beasts, look for a chest. My treasure, savings really. They're yours.
What'll that leave you with?
A roof over my head is all I need. And if it comes to it, I've other heirlooms to sell. But I know you witchers don't work for free. I could never let you go without honest pay. Gods keep you.
Alright. Oh, the House of Bearden. Let's see. Is a level 6 quest. We're now 7, so we're over leveled. Can't do it anymore. Said whoa! You were not kidding when you said it was east. It is a ways away from here. There are certainly question marks in between. Now, I would imagine many things that we do not currently know about that we would run into on our way over there. So, to be honest, even this little notice board over here, I feel as if it is likely that this will actually not be the next thing we end up doing. I don't know how time-consuming any of these other things might end up being, but we'll head in that direction. It's just, it's going to be quite a trek, and so I expect there to be a little bit more to it than just going straight into this. This is, oh, I was going to say it might have been one of those, crimes that we might be able to correct
Take
for
it
that
easy.
other person. It is apparently intact, and the actual thing
Go.
was that there was a mug there. What is the deal? This abandoned little hut.
Whatever filth lives here sure chose an unusual place for its lair.
One moment while I make sure that we aren't about to go into a very difficult Witcher contract. Marry Widow is 10. Talk to the Gravedigger. Uh-oh, we did not do that. Investigate the lair using your Witcher sentence. I did not mean to do that.
Creature can use tools. Means it's sapient. Or just plain clever.
Okay. Yeah, okay, maybe it is worth going back to talk to the Gravedigger. Because now that we have gone a little bit further here, we might need to do this now. Again, I don't have a great sense as to how far along we need to go to make it so that we're kind of on the quote-unquote timer, needing to do a specific thing.
Oh, aye.
Hello? Oh, you have your own contract.
Take care now.
Never mind. That is presumably not the one that I'm concerned about. I'm looking for the Gravedigger. His name was redded out. which implies that we are probably not in a place to talk to him anymore, but
Best give Crow Perch a wide berth.
we definitely saw you earlier. I think we deliberately did not talk to you because we didn't want to do just this. We wanted to avoid triggering this. So I'm guessing that the Gravedigger would have given us some additional insights. Some information that would have been helpful to figure out how to take this thing out. Where is this indicator sending us right now? Is going like up that way for some reason? No, we want to head back the other way toward Roach. Or the quest indicator. Just ignore the dotted line. Now the dotted line is sending us down this path. Okay, so I think it is level 10. So it might be tough. I mean, if it's level 10 and a boss the likes of which we were fighting when we went against the werewolf, then we're going to be in trouble. If it is level 10 and it's like any random monster that we've come across that is level 10, like the wild dogs or drowners or things of that nature, then we should be fine. So, I think we are going all in on this, at least for the time being. The roller keeps vibrating and seemingly suggesting things that we ought to be taking notice of. Definitely more stuff in here.
Somebody's doing some cooking. Yes, it's a human femur. A child's.
Oh. Hannibal?
Human skulls in a magic circle. Monsters clearly using them, drawing strength from the place of power. Gotta be a grave hag. Collected the skulls to draw the power through them. Confidence grew enough it started prowling the village. Need to take the skulls, force it to go back to the cemetery. I'll get it there.
Okay. Let's see what information we have about it now. Take the skulls. Go to the contract. The Gravedigger of Lindenvale had hung on the village's notice board. It seemed the village cemetery was full of monsters who seized children as their victims. Carrollton investigated the matter and discovered a grave hag hunted nearby. With the investigation part of his task complete, it was on to the luring out and slicing to ribbons phase. I'm assuming, based on the descriptions that Carroll has given us thus far, that we're likely looking at
That ought to really piss it off. Now to lay low in the cemetery. It's likely to crawl out after dark.
Okay. So we might be able to wait until we make it back to the cemetery before we can... I'm assuming as soon as we head to the cemetery, this thing is going to show up and we're going to need to fight it. We might be able to wait it out until we do ultimately end up heading back. Let's give this a shot. I'm getting a sense this is probably going to be... Oh, we have skill points that we totally forgot to use, and you've probably been shouting at me, asking me to use those. One moment. We were looking at those Quen upgrades. I think we upgraded that all the way, though? We did. Are there other sign upgrades? Bear in mind that we do not have room for another upgrade at the moment. We would be overburdened if we were not using the strong back, so we really should sell some stuff and make room so that we can put on a combat-oriented skill of some variety, especially in anticipation of this fight. Now, if it is anything like the Noon Wraith that we fought back in White Orchard, which is the thought that I've tried to start on several occasions but have not fully communicated, then that might be a sign that Yurden would be the type of sign that we ought to use. The trap sign. Increase the sign duration for 5 seconds. Number of alternative mode charges, 7. What? Number of standard mode traps, 1. Huh? Hold on. One of your core abilities is always active. Magic trap that slows enemies who enter its area of effect. Normally lasts 13 seconds. Increasing duration by 5 seconds is significant. Number of alternative mode charges. I don't know what that means. Also, just generally a stamina regeneration upgrade. And here, this is what, at level 8? We get more options here. We're close to that. Take a quick look at what the alchemy-related ones are. I'm generally not as interested in going the alchemy route. Potion overdose threshold. Take more potions. Oil applied to blades gives 3% chance of poisoning the target on each hit. Chance is greater the higher the level of oil used. Okay. Time slow to further 15% while aiming bombs. Every known level 1 alchemy formula increases maximum toxicity by 1. So the more knowledge you have, the more potions you can drink. If toxicity is above 0, time automatically slows when an enemy is about to perform a counterattack. That's kind of nifty. But I still think I would personally prefer scaling some of our signs. And at least at the moment, I'm assuming Uridan is probably the way to go. That is a guess. That is a preemptive guess. I have no way of knowing for certain. I'm suspecting that based on what happened when we fought the Noon Wraith, and I'm assuming that this enemy is going to be a Wraith of a similar sort, just more powerful.
Master Witcher, there's an elven burial ground in the caverns nearabouts mid-copse, and a heap of monsters roaming about.
Yes, that is ultimately where I do intend to go. I was also hoping that I might be able to sell some stuff first. Free up some space.
Greetings.
I thought that tree in the window was a gigantic spider.
Wouldn't mind a look at your stock.
I was like, excuse me, sir, there's a spider creeping up behind you. It is about to do something terrible. Creep up behind you. Give you a little nibble. Commander's Horn. Okay, so we have, I think, 2 Commander's Horns at the moment. I think we have already bought this from him on one prior occasion, and he has since restocked. It is only 10 horns, so we could buy another, because I think we can have up to 3 of a given card, and it is a pretty decent card. So I'll take it, but we definitely don't need it in the future. Also, you will not purchase any of our heavy things. Is a bit of a problem, because right now we are primarily looking to drop weight so that we can remove the strong back upgrade, put in the Uridan upgrade, and then fight. Where is the blacksmith? Probably sleeping. Because it is night.
In the caverns nearabouts mid-copse.
He is presumably the person who is here, because it is next to the blacksmithy area, unless you are still hanging out there and you don't need to sleep because blacksmiths never sleep. Never sleep. Not needed. I mean, I was kidding, but is that actually true? Or you actually have a separate building over here, and I should barge in here? Oh, we tried to talk to you at night before, and it didn't work. I should know this won't work. Sorry! Maybe that'll wake you up. Alright. I suppose we can give it a shot, as things currently stand. In which case, let's just swap over our primary quest to this Witcher contract. Have it show us exactly where that graveyard is. I assumed it was right next to where the gravedigger was. It's actually a little ways out of town. I would ideally rest a bit here, meditate, and wait for the people to wake up so that we could make those sales and then do that swap. And I was thinking that maybe at this stage we're far enough along that we don't want to do that because we'd be at risk of failing. But I think we'll still be okay. I hope we'll still be okay. Let's give that a shot. And by shot, I mean not wield our crossbow, I mean meditate. and hope that this doesn't mess us up. So it's day now. There's a chance that we need to do this quest at night.
Trusty arms
Actually, fight
for all sorts,
the Wraith at
steel
night.
swords and strong maces for the menfolk, and grave knuckle dusters for the ladies.
Have we? Actually, I'm not sure if we've talked to you. I might be mixing you up with the other blacksmith.
Master quality weapons. You capable of making them?
Who do you think I am? A Tory?
A Tory?
The master craftsman of Novigrad. Why, everyone's heard of him. Says he's retired now, so no. Ain't no one can do what you ask.
Alright. Maybe it is worth playing a game of Gwent with you, because this is not grayed out. Would suggest that we have not played you yet.
Show me your wares.
Let's make sure we do this stuff first, though, so that we don't forget, because I probably will. Oh, we do have the pickaxe, and I was wondering if maybe that was worth breaking into materials. And or the old crossbow. Hold on. We dismantle this. What do we get? Some iron ore, and it costs 6, actually. I keep on reading the wrong number every single time for that. Pretty sure we also got some new chest plates recently when we were doing some of that loot and stuff, and I may not have looked at them. Seems like they are not upgrades. Some of these are the shirts. The light shirts are definitely from way back in Vizima. But like this one, this is new. This is new. They both do have a socket. Place for a rune. But from a pure armor standpoint, they are not upgrades. Looks like they're not bad in terms of getting materials out of them. I don't know. This one's pretty cheap. Let's definitely do this. 1/2, 1 iron ore, so it's not like we got a lot quantity-wise, unfortunately. I was hoping that that might have been the case. And we do... This is our old silver sword. Would give us silver ore, which would be probably something very nice to have. Dark steel ingot. I don't know if we've heard anything about dark steel. That's a little intriguing. It's also actually worth something if we were to sell it. Oh, and these hunting boots that we probably meant to sell earlier. Oh, you can get some oil out of them. Now that's intriguing. I think that's worthwhile. In addition to many other things. We might be able to make an oil at this point that would be helpful with fighting some kind of wraith. Which, if that wraith is more powerful than we are, might be significant to have that. Okay, I think I will do similar stuff with these chest plates, and that looks like that is the primary thing that's weighing us down here. Yeah. These should give us some good crafting materials. They are rather expensive. We definitely lost a fair share of coins from that. But, never you mind that, because we are about to play this guy at Gwent and absolutely crush him.
We get some cards in too, I'll be a happy man.
He's like, yeah, you know it. I got you. Okay. I don't think we've gotten any new cards, though, since that... Well, we did get the new Commander's Horn. Is that worth getting 3 of? Or are we fine with just having 2? I think we have enough with just 2 that if we are keen on getting it to show up, and, you know, redraw other things, then it is fairly likely that we will get it. Well, is it worth maybe dropping one of our 4s? Squeeze it in? I think we could make a case for that. Drop Sheldon. add one of these, because more often than not, it's going to give more than 4, right? If your weakest unit is 4, which is not entirely true, because we do have the siege units, which, if they boost each other, will go higher than 1, but at least at base are 1, but everything else is at least a 4, in which case doubling it is at least just as valuable as having Sheldon out there, if not more. Potentially significantly more. So yeah. Oh, never mind. Hard limit reached. Can't do it. Sheldon, I take it back. Get back here. Let's start. Well, I've gone first for several times in a row here. Deploy, swap with a card on the battlefield. Return it to your hand. We've had this card for a while, but I don't think we've ever actually used it yet. Definitely don't want 2 of those. Oh, man. This hand looks abysmal. We have the siege experts, which would be good if we had a lot of siege weapons. We don't have a lot of siege weapons. We have 1 other siege weapon. We got 2 of the same weather effects. The weather effect clearing card, I think we swap out a siege expert, and this could be very painful. What did we get in return? Did we get the horn? Might have gotten the horn. I don't remember if we had that initially. Scoia'tael deck. Trying to say something here? Bloody old pal is a Scoia'tael supporter. I mean, we support Scoia'tael in Witcher 2, so who am I to scoff at that? Okay, so he's gone ranged row. I feel like that means that it is... well, that means it is probably not a good idea for us to go range row, because we might see it as something that is in our best interest. To weaken the range row, I'm pretty sure we have the ability to do that. Actually, I should double check. We may not be able to. We have so many weather effects, I assumed that we could, but we may not. Close combat, siege, but no range, so actually, it is not possible. Okay. We did play one of our better cards for sure. If we do this, we are still in the lead. We do have Stennis here, who is our spy. So if this is feeling like not so great stuff for us, we could use Stennis to bail on this round. Give our opponent the win, but give ourselves more cards to go along with it. What did this do? Placed in either close combat or range, cannot be moved once placed. Okay, well, if we play a 4, we're keeping pace with you. I really wish we did have a ranged nerf at this point. That would be very helpful. And what we could do, if we felt so inclined, felt like our opponent was over-investing in this round, we could play the dummy card, get Siegfried back. That's our strongest card that we have at the moment. We'd have only invested 1/4 here in Sheldon. And then we could also double up and play Stennis, boost our opponents even further, only to give ourselves more cards for round 2 and 3. If we feel like that's necessary. And I kind of feel like that might be the way to go, because it is hard to take just a small incremental upgrade to kind of keep pace with our opponent here. We're either going big with the Ballista. The Siege Expert is just not enough. Doesn't really make a difference. And then Stennis is the Spy, so that's kind of its own category. I think we do this. Not sure we have many other options here. Our opponents should pass if they were smart, and they did. Unfortunately, they didn't invest additional cards unnecessarily, but we will still play Stennis so that we take this opportunity when we know we're going to lose to draw additional cards. And what did we get? We got Blue Stripes Commando. Unfortunately, we don't have a second one, but we got another siege weapon. A pretty strong one at that, which makes our Siege Engineer a little bit more useful as well. So it's a little bit, a small double bonus there. Small synergy. Okay, and now we have a 9-7 card advantage. We have a 2 card advantage, which hopefully will pay off. And now he's playing cards in the melee row, lots of cards in the melee row, which is good for us because we do have a way to weaken them. Whereas we were not able to do that when he was buffing, when he was throwing everything in the range row. Find any cards with the same name in your deck and play them instantly. Oh, they have different art, but they're actually the same card. Interesting. Okay. So this is probably in the future. Playing that. Which means we should probably make this a siege unit round. So that we aren't nerfing ourselves. So let's do that. Our opponent has passed. Okay. So our opponent has passed, which means he is assuming that we're going to take this round, and he just wants to limit the investment. So we could do a couple of things to take this win. We could use the melee nerf, drop all of them down to 1, and then we'd win 6-3. We'd be down a weather card. We could double up our siege row. There are a few ways we could do that. We could do that with our hero card. We could do that with this card. I think it'd be better to use the hero card because that is less versatile. That has to be in the range row, whereas this has the flexibility of being able to go range or melee or siege. And we do have 2 melee cards right now, so we might potentially have a scenario in which we'd like to buff the melee row in a future round. So I think we do that. I think that's the way we ought to go. So now we take this victory, win round 2, and we still have card advantage for the next round, especially if you consider that our perk of being Northern Realms is that we get additional card draw when we win a round, and we got an additional Siege Engineer, which is not great, because it's a low strength card. It does give +1 strength to other units in the siege row, which when we have a couple of other range cards does mean something, and we likely will still double the siege row with this guy, but we have the option of doing something else if we see fit. I think we do start with the range. Start with the siege, I should say. We have nothing in range, I say. Okay, so you are investing in melee, which I would very much like. We're holding on to that. Nerf melee in the future. We do have our own melee cards that at some point we probably will want to play, but siege is first and foremost where I anticipate we will be spending much of our time. I wanted you had the choice of playing that in either range or melee, and you chose to play it in range, which is the smart move, but not great for us. That's definitely in range, yeah, so I'm not a fan of this loading up in the range row business. So we can double this, go up to 24. We would take the lead. I mean, it's the last round, so we're going to play everything. Or almost everything. The weather cards maybe being an exception. Because now that means we will end up using our melee cards, and those ones may end up getting nerfed. Oh, okay. So I did anticipate that might end up happening. Fortunately, we do have the ability to clear that effect. So I'm going to deliberately wait and see if our opponent has additional weather cards, namely potentially another one of those that they might end up playing, so that we can definitely clear it. Guaranteed Biting Frost. Okay, I did not realize you had guaranteed melee nerf. I mean, I was probably going to end up doing that anyway, but now if we want to, we can remove that as well. So that's also an option. So, again, all the more reason for waiting it out, because initially I was thinking that might be something that we'd want to do if they invested more heavily in melee than we did. However, It ended up being the other way around. So if we do this, they only have 1 card remaining. So we take a fairly sizable lead now. They have another weather effect card. Nope, they pass. Okay. We got it. And now we will proceed to PM. And just win by as much as we can. And that means not using any weather effects that hinder us more than they help us. So we will pass here and take the victory. There we go. Nice. Of swords and dumplings? What? What is this quest?